All right, guys, welcome to a brand new episode of SideQuest Podcast. Listen in and level up. I have a great episode for you today, but first, as always, let's get through the show notes. If you're not following the Facebook page, head over to Facebook, type SideQuest Fitness into the search bar, and like the page. There, you're going to get updates on podcast episodes, articles when they get posted, and you're going to get a brand new taco recipe every Tuesday for taco camp. Plus lots of other shenanigans and nerd talk throughout the week, so make sure you head over to Facebook. You can follow me on Instagram. My handle is SideQuestFM. If you want to see some cool videos and random stuff on Instagram as well, you can follow me on Instagram. Same handle, SideQuestFM. Or follow me on Snapchat, SideQuestFit. Follow me there. Send me your questions. I want to get all the questions from you, help you as much as I can on your fitness journey or your journey in life, whatever it may be. But head over to Snapchat, SideQuestFit. Follow me there. You get a little more personal, in-depth look at the shenanigans I get into throughout every day. But I do love getting questions from the community, so please send them out to me. If you have not left a review for the podcast, please head over to iTunes. If you're not listening on iTunes and you're listening on SoundCloud or Stitcher, leave a review there as well. When you leave reviews, it helps me move up the charts on the iTunes store so that more people can see and hear the amazing guests that I've had on and have on each and every single week. So make sure you head over there. And don't forget, if you haven't picked up your copy of the 7 Principles of Fat Loss, head over to sidequestfitness.com/7 principles, and you can pick up your copy of the 7 Principles of Fat Loss. These are the same 7 principles I follow each and every day and teach my clients to help them shred away more body fat, unlock heroic strength, and just look better naked. So if you want to unlock strength or just look better naked in the mirror, head over again, grab those 7 principles of fat loss, and start following those today. What's up, guys? Welcome to the show. So over the last few months, you have heard me talking about my online clients, and you've heard from a few of my online clients as well about what they've done on their fitness quest with me. With summer heading in, I am taking a few more clients on to help people get ready for summer, help you get ready for bikini season or swimsuit season, or maybe this is your first time. Maybe you've decided that that's it. You want to get in shape, and you need someone to help you with your journey. On your journey, you need a Gandalf and a Samwise to guide you as you head into Frodo. And I am your Gandalf and Samwise, all packed in to one. I am taking on a few more clients. If you are interested, head over to sidequestfitness.com/coach and check out the page. You can apply there. You can find out more about what coaching entails and also see some of the amazing transformations that my clients have had while working with me. So head over to sidequestfitness.com/coach and apply today. Man, this summer has been crazy here in New York City with my internship. I have not had the time to get a load of podcasts done, but I'm back with this episode. The one and the only John Fawkes joins me today to chat about fitness, to chat about our mutual love of all things nerd, and just to dive deep into some really, really great life things as well. So guys, I'm not going to talk any further. Let's get into the show and hear from the one and the only John Fawkes.
Step up and you gotta get it fitness. Host Rob at the moment and the quest is you gotta check it and wreck it. You're breaking personal records and with the help of the guests you won't be guessing on the lessons. That's a +5 fierce. Got a low-key bamf right here. You wanna meet him, there's no better way to greet him than to strike a boss pose. Take a look into the mirror.
All right, guys, welcome to the show. I have a great guest for you today. He is a fellow online fitness writer who has been featured on the Huffington Post and Rowan Fitness Systems, just to name a few. But he's an excellent writer and a nerd as well, a big nerd. But I'm glad to have him on the show, the one and the only John Fawkes. John, how you doing?
Excellent. How you doing, Robbie?
I'm doing well. Now, my Panthers fans that heard that, this is not John Fawkes, okay? Fawkes is how you spell his name. He's not the NFL coach, so don't worry. You don't have to yell at him. Anyways, John, how you doing?
Good, man. Good. Beautiful morning here in San Francisco. and I actually can't see it because I'm locked in a room with one fogged window. But it was a beautiful morning when I was outside a few minutes ago.
Yeah. Have you lived in San Francisco your whole life?
No. I moved around a lot in my life, but I mostly grew up in San Diego, and I've been here 5 or 6 years now.
So what's the difference? So like I've been to San Diego. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. But what's the biggest difference between like San Diego and San Francisco? Just and besides like culture, but I mean like geologically, like weather-wise, what separates that being in California?
Oh, I mean, culturally, it's night and day because San Diego's the bro town and San Francisco's the nerd town. Night and day. It's kind of like the bros go to San Diego. You got like the rockers and actors and stuff go to L.A. Huge nerds nerds and business people go to San Francisco.
It's interesting you say that though, because the biggest Comic-Con is in San Diego.
Yeah, well, San Diego is just. It's not even because San Diego is the best market for that. It's just because San Diego is conventions in general are a big thing there, and they have the best convention center for it.
Gotcha.
And I actually, amazingly, I never went to San Diego Comic-Con the whole time I was there. I think I'm going to go to the San Francisco one in August or September this year because someday I'll go to the actual San Diego one, but I always wasn't that interested in going to it, and I just went to like the parties around it. I'm kind of curious to actually go to a Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Like I understand half of what's going on, but because I don't really read comics. Like I'll get all the movie references and all like novels and video games, but like comics and anime, I just don't follow.
Well, what's interesting is that San Diego, SDCC has become basically nothing but Hollywood movie premieres, and it's not really about the comics anymore. It's about the other things that the comics sort of brought together. And the smaller cons tend to have a focus on the actual like comics and like writers and colorists and people who draw the comics and create these comics.
And TV stars kind of like edge everyone out, or they kind of like crowd everyone out.
Well, yeah, I mean, but that's like why people are going to that, because they know big trailers happen and like big news events happen. But like comics in general tend to be a little a little better at smaller cons, at least in my experience with that. But John, your website, your tagline is where science geeks go to become, beasts. What kind of science geek are you?
Oh, well, I mean, when I was a kid, I wanted to be a mad scientist, and I was really disappointed when I grew up and found out that scientists have to specialize in just one kind of science. that you can't build genetically engineered sharks with laser beams on their head, because you have to have a shark person and a laser beam person, but they're two different fields. That was just such a letdown for me. But I really enjoy. I still to this day read a lot of psychological research because that's always really interested me. And I really enjoy doing, self-experiments, like even as a fitness coach, I've gotten to fool around with experimenting with cutting caffeine, trying out nootropics. I even have some kind of, I don't know where I put it, no, I'm sorry, this isn't even going to be on video, is it?
No, dude, you can talk about it.
Oh, fuck. I'm going to show it to you anyway. Your audience won't get to see this, but you will. This is a freaking giant brain reading headset. Look at this thing.
What?
Maybe I'll just send you a photo of this if you want to put it in the article. But yeah, it's like an EEG headset called the Versus that I got to try out and use for a while. That's been developed by this startup here in San Francisco, but it's basically like a technology assisted meditation. Like it's really just meditation, but with a feedback mechanism. So you get good at it way faster because you can actually like see moment to moment if you're doing well.
Interesting. So it's like a video game version of meditating?
Pretty much, because there's a little iPad app that like with a few different little mini games, like you can see a guy shooting a basketball or a hang glider or a hot air balloon. but it's all just kind of like you try to focus on it while remaining calm. And the better you do, the hang glider goes faster, the hot air balloon goes up. Huh. They're not cool video games, but they're games.
All right. Interesting.
I do a lot of neat stuff like that. But I'm also.
How did you get into that, John? How did you like find this company?
Oh, that company was my dad was doing some advisory work for them. So he mentioned that his son had a fitness blog, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we could use some people to write about our thing. We'll let him try it out." So that was a personal connection. So normally the kind of free shit that I get offered from people I don't know is in the under $100 range at this point. But if I have a personal connection, sometimes I can do something super cool like that, like a freaking RoboCop headset. That's what I called it on my blog. Now that I think about it, I said how I train my brain while looking like RoboCop or something like that.
Yeah. Have you felt that in your meditation that you've done, it's been better with this technology, or are you?
Yeah, I did. I noticed while I was using it, I noticed I did become more productive and better at like focusing on my work. So it really did help because it's about, just the brain waves and getting into the alpha wave dominant kind of brain state, because you have so your brain has, a few different kinds of brain waves. You got the delta and theta waves, which are really just sleep or deep trances, which you don't want. That means you're asleep, you're not working. And then on the high end, you got like the beta waves, or where you're really alert. That's what you get when you're playing sports or you're in danger. So it's really about, and then the alpha waves are kind of the relaxed concentration, which is where you want to be if you're doing any kind of like desk work. So it's really it's training your brain to produce steady alpha waves and really cut back on the other ones. In my case, mainly the beta waves, because I tend to be too high strung, which makes it hard for me to focus on my work.
Yeah. That's I'm gonna have to look into this startup and be like, hey, I will write something about your product. Send me your weird video game meditation thing.
Yeah, they've like changed their business model now, because this thing's just so damn expensive. Like very few individuals are going to buy it. So I think their model now is they're trying to focus on getting it in doctors' offices and having like doctors and therapists have sets that they'll kind of share among their patients.
Gotcha.
So these things are like $600 or $800 or something. I mean, like it's the price range is just too damn high for most users.
Yeah, that's a little much.
They're pivoting, as we say in the Bay Area. They're pivoting. Yeah.
What's it like being in that area surrounded by, it's become the mecca of startups where people are moving and what's that like?
So most people here don't work in like early stage startups. I only know a couple people who do that. Like, I mean, I have a friend who started his own startup that I think that he quit and I think has failed, but he was working like 80 hours a week. So, if you live here, you probably know one or two people who are in startup world, and you hardly ever see them because they're working 80 plus hours a week. And then, a lot of people who work at later stage companies work maybe like 50 or 60 hours a week, still have a lot of fun. But it gets a little annoying. Like, I'm not a tech person. Like before I was in fitness, I was a marketing guy. Yeah. So you'll sometimes hang out with people here and they just cannot shut up about code. They'll be talking, yeah, man, we're doing Scrum. I did, a few packets of code, and I can't even ape what they say. I can't remember all the jargon they use. But yeah, I mean, there's a significant subset of people here who can't shut up about it when they go out. But the cool thing about San Francisco, though, is you got a lot of like young people who are really like, they're like just unabashedly like, they just still want to be kids, and they don't mind doing things like costume parties, even if it's not Halloween. Fucking get some big wheel bikes and go big wheel racing. Like they have no desire to like act like adults if they don't want to, Gotcha. Like it's this really cool dichotomy where people have these really high powered careers, but then they do like for fun a lot of the same stuff you did when you were in like elementary school. Like, So it's a very different mentality I felt from SoCal, because no one's trying to be like glamorous. They're just like, they're dorky and they're okay with it, which I like.
Yeah.
Science too.
Yeah. So what got you into fitness from marketing? You know, having an online business, obviously marketing is a big piece of that, but what brought you to fitness?
Well, I had been into fitness on a personal level for a long time. So I started this blog as a side business, really, while I was in my last job. I was a salesman. I was the business development director for a small ad agency here, which was a job I just didn't like. It was just a corporate culture that was not very fun. You know, people there they didn't socialize much. They took pride in their work, but they didn't really like being at that place because it was just long hours, and kind of the boss was just not a very nice guy.
Yeah.
So I started this business on the side, and after a few months I quit that job and started doing a mixture of the fitness business and also doing a little just Google AdWords management for companies as a kind of a freelance thing until I got this off the ground. But the way I originally got into fitness was way back when I was in college. I was like not a fit guy at all. I mean, I was very skinny fat with a big beer gut. And I started, trying to join this martial arts group at my school, this like co-ed martial arts fraternity. And so they had tryouts, and in the tryouts, you have to demonstrate that you can work out safely, which mainly means being able to do like rolls and break falls when you're thrown down, and being able to like do kind of training punches where you're not hitting people hard. And so we did this one exercise where people are just like throwing me around constantly to test my ability to do rolls and break falls. And I just got too winded, and I had to like stop a little early and like sit down and take several minutes to catch my breath. I just felt like I was going to die. And people were like really worried about me, and they ended up not letting me into the group. And they said, man, we really like you. And like, you've got good skills. You can work out. Like, we know you won't hurt anyone else, but we're afraid you're going to have a heart attack if you like we have like obese people in this group, but you're just so unathletic. We're afraid you're going to have a heart attack. So that was a real wake up call for me. And so I started going to the gym and taking that seriously. And I started lifting weights and, running on the treadmill. And at that point I was at the newbie phase most people go through, where they just go to the gym and do whatever with no real plan. But it was still good enough that I lost a little fat. I got better stamina, and I went back to that group the next semester, and I got in, and they said, we're really impressed because like no one ever comes back after we turn them down.
Yeah.
I was the only one who ever did that.
Hey, that showed them that, look, you can tell me that you're not going to let me in. Now I'm going to go bust my ass, and I want to be here. Which most people would have just given up, and have been told, we don't think it's good for you. We're worried about you. And many people would just throw in that towel. And I think we both have had clients who have probably felt like that in their own journey. How do you keep a client, or how do you keep yourself when you want to, like, in the game, when you want to throw in the towel?
Oh man. I mean, I think priority number one is really focusing on the process and not the end goal. Cause it's easy to psych yourself out by having a big goal that's a long way off and thinking, God, that's so far off. I can't imagine myself doing that.
Yeah.
And you don't have to really be able to imagine yourself at the end point. You just have to be able to imagine yourself, a month down the road, 5 pounds lighter or whatever. So for me, the big thing about fitness was learning to enjoy the process. Like, I enjoy going to the gym. I enjoy the feeling of accomplishment, picking up some heavy weights and getting stronger. And so I really focus on helping my clients to find their enjoyment with working out, whether that's like lifting weights with me, like I do, or I say, look, if group classes are your thing, like if you enjoy them, take a group class, like take a group spinning class. Like, you need to lift weights, and if you don't enjoy it, maybe don't do a lot of it. Maybe lift the weights first, then do your spinning class, so the two become psychologically linked. Yeah. But I would say if people are having trouble with motivation, prioritize enjoyment, even at the sense of like dieting or working out exactly the right way. Because just do, it's better to do okay consistently than to do everything right inconsistently. Because once you're consistent about anything, you can just gradually improve it. But if you're not consistent in the first place, there's no framework in which you can start making adjustments and improving things. Like you don't even have a launching for that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the hardest thing for people to establish is consistency, because, and this is something that, in my Make Your 30s better than your 20s 30-day challenge, which if you're interested in, please email me, sidequestfitness@gmail.com. One of the first things I tell my clients on the end of week 2 is, all right, you're 14 days into this, but I want to warn you about something. And they kind of lean in and they're like, okay, what's going on? What's up? Right around day 18 to day 22, life is going to throw wrenches at you. It's going to throw left hooks, right hooks, and uppercuts. And I've had people whose cars have broken down. I've had family members die. I've had kids get sick. I've had almost anything you could think of happen. And just know that 98% of people have something happen during that time period. And that is life throwing its first test at you to be like, are you really willing to do this? Do you want this? And if you can get past that, life will back off for a little bit. It's going to come back at you again, but it will back off for a little bit, because it doesn't like to see that consistency. Life, or just our bodies in general, we want homeostasis, and breaking that homeostasis to go on a new adventure is not something the body wants us to do. But John, you said something in a Medium article that you posted about a Buddhist principle, and it kind of comes back to what we're talking about. And I love how sometimes I have a question and it sort of segues into something where my guest starts talking about something and it segues into it. But it was a Buddhist sort of proverb that said, if something is easy for you, work on it a lot.
Or work on it
hard. Work on it a little. If something is easy for you, work on it a little. If it's hard for you, work on it a lot. So, John, what difficult task or goal are you working on right now?
Oh, a few things. Like, man, the number one thing I hate is writing sales copy, sales emails, sales pages. And obviously that's hugely important to my business. So next week, I'm really going to sit down and try and write the best sales page I possibly can for my coaching program, because that's how I make most of my money. And the sales page right now is just very half-assed. And it's something where I've caught myself like falling into creative avoidance and just throwing something up there because I don't want to do it. I hate sales, hate writing sales stuff. But I'm like, no, this is a core thing of my business. Like, doing this right versus doing this wrong could like double my income. There's no excuse not to be crushing this. But and that's one good principle, is when you find yourself like putting something off and making excuses not to do it, that just shows that you need to tackle that thing. Like, you need to tackle your excuses head on. Be like, all right, why am I not doing this? What am I afraid of? Why do I not want to do this? And then just bulldoze through those excuses and do it. Because if something's hard for you, that very often is an indication that you have all the more reason you need to do it. And if something's easy for you, that often just means you've already gotten good at it. You're at the point of diminishing returns. Like what I said in that article was, sometimes I'll get like emails from people who are very overweight, and they say, John, working out's easy for someone like you. It's tough for me. I'm fat. My knees hurt. And I said, and my reply to that is, it's tough for you because you're new at it, which means, you can make rapid gains if you stick to it. It's easy for me, but that also means that what I have to gain is like 6-pack abs, whereas for you, it could save your life. So once something gets easy for you, you're really that unfortunately, with the lowered difficulty often comes lowered returns. Yeah.
There was something, I was watching some video someone had on Eminem, and like how Dre found him and bringing him out to where they were, and like him taking a huge risk on Eminem. And how someone had either told Dre at some point that, like, look, the hardest thing you will ever do, is work on this album and succeed. But once you get there, you got to work twice as hard to keep what you got.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of true. But something that I was thinking about while you were talking about that is, in the world of entrepreneurship, and I think this applies to life. So if you're listening to this and you hear that word entrepreneur and you go, okay, well, I'm not one, that doesn't apply. No, I want you to listen to this because I think it applies to life and it applies to fitness and it applies to many avenues, is that things that are hard are probably, yes, a sign that you need to work on them. But if you've been working on them for a very long time, you either really have two choices. One, you need to get an outside perspective and see if you've been doing the same thing. Doing this, what is the saying about insanity? Like if you do the same thing all the time.
Yeah, it's
all the time and get the same result. That's the definition of insanity. So step out and try and find someone who can help you, either be a coach or like a therapist or a friend or a family member. But sometimes it's okay to quit. Like it may just be something that like it's taking too much of your time. It's causing too much anxiety and you need to quit. Is there something, John, that you've done that you've quit in the last year that actually that you fought for a while, but really has benefited you as a person or as a coach or in your business?
Something that I've quit in the last year. Let's see. Last year I was living the digital nomad life, which I'd always wanted to do for many years. And I finally got rid of all my excuses and just packed my stuff into a bag and moved to Thailand for a few months, went through Southeast Asia, Bali, Africa, South America. And it was amazing. But after 9 months of that, I was really getting tired of it. I was getting homesick. And I've been thinking maybe I'll do this for years and years. I'll never get tired of it. But, I came back to San Francisco. I was like, you know what? That's fun for a few months at a time. But having tried it out, I've realized for a long time, I thought I wanted to make a lifestyle of that, perpetually. And I've realized that it's just not quite for me. That maybe 3 or 4 month mini vacations are for me, but or mini retirements. But the perpetual digital nomad life where you never settle down in one place, thought I wanted it, but I didn't. And then something else I've quit. I'm trying to think in my business, in my personal life. That's a really good question. Knowing when to quit. In my business, I've quit a lot of, different ways of building traffic. Oh, you know what? Yeah, I got a really good one because I tried out vlogging a few months ago where I was doing daily vlog uploads to YouTube. Just short, to the point, 5 to 10 minute videos to YouTube every day as an experiment. And, I know other people have gotten a lot of traffic off of doing this, but for me, it just didn't really get me a lot of traction. After a month, I had 20 subscribers and most of my videos had 5 to 20 views. And I was just all right, so my current viewers don't really care. It's not in and of itself bringing in new viewers. Maybe it would if I already had people who cared about video, and then would share it with people. But I was just this isn't really getting me the results I thought it would get. It's not bringing in the audience. It's not bringing in subscribers. And so there's an important distinction here, I think, between quitting on your goals and quitting on your process. Because my goal, as with pretty much everything I do in my business, was to get subscribers, to get people to find out about me and then join my email newsletter, because that's how I mostly sell stuff. And so the process, the means to reach that goal was vlogging, which didn't work. So what I gave up on was that one means for reaching my goal, but not the goal itself. And so that's when you're thinking about quitting something, that's an important distinction to make is am I giving up on my goal or am I going to try and find a new route to that goal? And in this case, it was a new route to that goal.
I like that. That's I think one thing I've run into with one of my clients is actually a couple of clients, things get really busy and they have goals in their minds for things that they want to do.
Yeah.
They want to increase strength. They want to do this. They want to do that, and they're great goals. A lot of people have those goals,
Yeah.
Their life is just so busy. They have, kids on the way. They're trying to establish a new business. They're doing this. They're doing that. Like, things are hectic. And when your stress level is high from work and life, your body isn't going to want to burn fat. It's not going to give you the best workouts in the gym. So one of the things that I will tell people is, look, you don't have to give up your fitness and being active just because life gets busy. Like, take 5 minutes, and if you have dumbbells at home, you know what? Do 5 minutes of just straight dumbbell rows, and I guarantee you, if you rep out like 100 rows with like 25 pounds, you're gonna feel it. Like, goblet squat for 5 minutes and like rest minimal. That 5 minutes will fly by, but you're still getting working. You're still moving the body. You're still doing more than just sitting on your ass. And I think compacting it sometimes is a better way to go about. It's a different means. It's a different means and a different route to what you want to do. It's not a 1 hour, session in the gym.
And a lot of people have, I think, a very narrow view of what exercise is, that it has to be something that happens in the gym, or it has to be something you don't enjoy, or it has to take a certain amount of time. And really, exercise is something that either gets your heart rate up and or fatigues your muscles. Anything that falls into that is exercise. And I think the biggest difference that I've seen between people who succeed and people who don't is how they react when they can't do exactly what they wanted to do. Like, if you can't do exactly the workout you wanted to do, or you can't make it to the gym, do you do nothing, or do you do what you can? Like, if you can't make it to the gym, do you at least work out at home? If you can't do kettlebell swings like you were planning because there are no kettlebells, do you do some like dumbbell rows and squats instead to like kind of work the same muscles, or you not really replace them with anything? Because what winners do is they find, if they can't do what they wanted, which happens, they find the next best thing. Like they figure out the best substitute or the best alternative.
Yeah, and I think sometimes it's learning, sort of learning those substitutes and what you can do. It's very easy, and in my opinion, it's most people can pick up a weight and they can move a bench, like they can do a bench press. A push-up is much more intimidating because you're pushing your whole body away as opposed to, a few pounds. But they're all, there's always alternatives. Which is one thing that benefits you in having a coach, is because if you go, look, I'm so busy, I don't have this time. Good. Let the coach worry about what you need to do, and you just do what they say. And they can give you the tools to still achieve your goal, as opposed to you trying to do it on your own.
Go
ahead.
One thing I really recommend to people is whenever you encounter adversity, I like to take a two-step approach to this. Is if you can't do like plan A and you need a plan B, try to think for yourself, think of 3 different possible plan Bs. Like, if I can't do this, maybe I could do this, this, or this instead. And then contact your coach, your mentor, your friend, whoever you get advice from, and briefly explain the problem and say, hey, this is the problem. Here are 3 possible solutions I've come up with. Which of those 3 do you think is best? And what that does is it lets you benefit from expert advice, but it also teaches you to think for yourself and to be proactive and to view kind of knowledge and wisdom and advice as something that you can create for yourself and go out and get for yourself, and not something that you have to wait for other people to push at you.
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck, dude. I love that. John, let's segue into a couple of fun questions, and maybe this is where we end up moving away from the old fitness talk. John, if you could go anywhere in a time machine, where would you go?
Anywhere in a time machine, man. Let me think. Do I get to come back? Because
no one has ever asked that question, but I would assume with the time machine going backwards, you could still come forwards.
Yeah. Come forwards with a time machine, or just wait for time to. Because
if you went back to the time of dinosaurs, I would assume that this time machine also works in bringing you back to your actual time period.
That's a good point, man. I gotta be honest. I know you're looking for a cool answer here, but whenever people bring up time machines, my mind immediately just goes to making money on the stock market. So, That's all I can think of. You know, I would really like to go back to, like the very dawn of civilization and like just find out like how that happened. Like how did people first like start inventing like agriculture and stuff and make the decision like, hey, let's stop running around and hunting animals and let's like build houses and like have laws. Man, what else? I'd really love to meet Teddy Roosevelt. Early 20th century, maybe, because a lot of my heroes are from the very early 20th century, like Teddy Roosevelt, Nikola Tesla, Amelia Earhart, Marie Curie. Like some of my favorite people were right around that time period.
Huh. All right. I would, you know what? I'd like to get on a horse with old Teddy and ride through the Badlands and,
yeah.
See what he maybe get into a little wrestling match with him.
He would be into that. He did an expedition up the Amazon like after he was president when he was already old as heck. I'd love to go on that with him.
Yeah. John, what store would you max your credit card out at?
What store would I max my credit card out at? Let me think. Oh, what store would I max out my credit card at? These days, I haven't even been like spending a lot of money on anything, but I can't even tell you what stores stuff came from, but I'm a huge leather jacket collector. So I can't name a store really, but a store that sold cool, like punk rock, like leather jackets and band t-shirts. Because now that's like, other than like food, that's the biggest thing I spend money on is like leather jackets and band t-shirts.
Yeah. What band t-shirt do you buy no matter what?
Oh man. The Ramones, the Misfits. I don't have a Billy Idol shirt. I need to get one of those. I just thought of that. Iron Maiden. I have like 3 or 4 of those. Just got an Epica t-shirt. Yeah. I would say Ramones, Misfits, kind of stuff.
All right. John, what's the most money you've ever drunkenly spent on fast food?
Maybe $15. 10-15 bucks. That sounds like a lot, but this is San Francisco. That's like one Chipotle meal. So when I get drunk, I'll eat fast food, but not like any more than if I'm sober. Like,
gotcha. All right.
I can't put down 4,000 calories just because I'm drunk. I just don't have that kind of stomach.
So John, what are you nerding out on right now? Like what games or books or just whatever are you like just super getting nerd boners about all day, every day?
Game of Thrones coming up this weekend, and then the Blade Runner sequel coming out later this year. Have both been on my mind. Like I'm going to a Game of Thrones party this Sunday at a friend's place. At the friend's place where I play Dungeons and Dragons. So let me say D&D too, because I just got into that a few months ago and like just dove in. I joined one group, then 2 months later joined another group. Now I got 2 groups, and like that's my main pastime now. So those 3 things: D&D, Blade Runner, Game of Thrones.
All right.
What else? I just finished not The Name of the Wind. What's the sequel to that?
Wise Man's Fear.
What's the second one called? The Slow Regard of Silent Thing? No.
It's A Wise Man's Fear.
The Wise Man's Fear, yeah.
A Wise Man's Fear. Oh, dude, fucking Patrick Rothfuss. Oh,
yeah, amazing.
I just, dude, like so much spooge all over the words of that book. Just everything. Like I cannot like. I can't describe just how beautifully he writes things and just the like. Yeah. I have no words. I have no word. The first 3 sentences of The Name of the Wind, like I put the book down and I was just like, I fucking give up. I can't write a sentence or 3 sentences that vivid and that beautiful. Yeah. And I was just like, I was like, I looked at my wife and I was like, I want to fuck this book already. Like, I just want to put my dick in it and I just want to like fuck it all night because this is so amazing. And I just like, it's one of the fastest books I've ever read. A Wise Man's Fear took a lot longer just because it's there's a lot more story to it, and there's just so much more of Koth.
Yeah.
By the way, listeners, if you're listening to this right now, the great Lin-Manuel Miranda is going to be producing the television show and movie of The Name of the Wind. So when they put up the casting, yes, when they put up the casting for that, what I need is the internet to let them know that Robbie Farlow, okay, at SideQuest FM on Twitter, at SideQuest FM on Instagram, and just Robbie Farlow on Facebook is Koth, because I want to play that redheaded bastard. I want that role, so it needs to happen. I'm putting it out there. I am Koth.
Yeah, but can you play the lute? That's the real question.
I self-taught myself guitar. I can learn how to play the lute. Listen.
All right.
Listen.
I will support you in that.
If every other Hollywood actor can get themselves ripped and shredded to play a superhero, you damn right I can learn how to play a lute.
That's true. I will support that fan petition. Draft Robbie. It worked for Tim Tebow. It'll work for you, man. Just get enough fans to sign a petition. You're in. There we
go. I might also know someone he knows very well, so maybe I can weasel my way in that way.
Yeah.
But so John, question before we start wrapping up here in the next 10 minutes or so. Is there a difference between the terms nerd and geek to you?
No, I've never understood why people make that distinction. I mean, I know what they're supposed to mean is a nerd is into math and science, and a geek is into anime and comic books and stuff. But I truly do not care about that distinction. I guess probably because I'm both of them. So, no. I when people make that distinction, I always feel like they're trying to imply that they're anytime someone makes that distinction, it always seems like it's some kind of huge dork. He's trying to imply he's better than the other dorks. I'm a geek, not a nerd. No one cool has ever said that in my experience. I have heard people make that distinction time and time again, and they are always the most obnoxious motherfuckers I've ever met. The kind of people who just they find one thing they're knowledgeable about and use it to talk down to other people. Those kind of I don't know if that's universal or if it's just my experience, but my experience has been going out of your way to make that distinction is just kind of a D-bag move. So I don't make it.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point. I'm
a geek and a nerd, not afraid to say either of those things. Don't care.
I honestly just use them interchangeably.
Yeah.
I'm a nerd about some things and I'm a geek about other. To me, they're interchangeable. I mean, I don't think there's and maybe there is an etymological, difference between the words. Technically, nerd was invented by Dr. Seuss. Yeah. So I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I used to love Dr. Seuss.
So, John, what brought you? So we know what brought you into fitness. But man, what was your introduction to the world of just being a nerd or a geek? What was it science? Was it science class? Was it a book? Was it Star Wars? I mean, for me, it was Star Wars. It was, now granted, I saw the Ewok movies and I was like, yay, talking teddy bears and whatever. Not realizing that it was from Star Wars because they I go to the video store and I'm like, Mom, teddy bears. And it's going to be like, okay, I'm going to get this movie for you. But Star Wars was what, I saw it, boom, done. Totally nerd into that, video games, Transformers, all that as well. But what was your introduction to the world of nerd?
It had to be video games. I played video games way too much as a kid in hindsight, but they were my main pastime. Computer only. I don't have any consoles, but I have Steam. I play a little, not as much, but some first person shooters, a little here and there. maybe might get back into World of Warships in a bit. Like I
was going
downloaded.
to ask you if you were a console or a PC.
I used to be a console guy, but lately I don't quite care enough to spend the money to buy a separate console just for games. So now and I have a Mac, so I only play games that you can play on the Mac these days. Like for a while, I actually had Windows, and I was dual booting Windows just for games, and I got rid of it because the games were distracting me from work. But as a kid, games, and particularly the Final Fantasy games, I loved the Final Fantasy games as a kid. I mean, especially I was a kid. I'm just the right kind of age that I hit my peak video gaming years right when they had Final Fantasy 6 and 7 out, that's where the series peaked, I think. And I think Final Fantasy 6 was even the better game. I know everyone loves 7. I like the ensemble cast of 6.
Somewhere in the world right now, John Romanello just popped a boner because he was like, yes, someone said Final Fantasy 6 is better.
Yeah. Did a few things really well. I mean, Aerith dying, loved it, very well done, but just the overall plot of 6 was a little better done, and I like the bigger kind of ensemble style cast and the multiple storylines that are kind of separate and then like connect and branch, like a little more story complexity.
Yeah, and this is not something I'm afraid to admit. John brings that up, and I'm like, I never played Final Fantasy 6 because I was a gamer, but like my dad refused to buy video games. He was like, I'm not spending $50 on a fucking video game. You go to the video store and I'll pay $3 and you can rent it. And I'm like, great, I have 3 days to try and beat this game. So and there was like with playing, with being in sports and like having, other activities, I never really got a chance to play like those big sprawling RPGs, except in the summer when I was over at my friend Sam's house. And I just hung out with him because he was like a brother, and I just watched him play like Final Fantasy 7 and like watch the story. And so for me, like, I would say 7 because I got to like play a little bit with him. Like we'd switch off controllers, but there's a lot like with that new Super Nintendo that's coming out. I'm excited to play like Final Fantasy 3. But yeah, my dad just wouldn't buy those games. So like, I played sports games and platformers and like games I could beat in a weekend. And Zelda, like I played Zelda like when I could, cause you could save it, and it just wasn't as long as say, a Final Fantasy.
Yeah, that's what I do now is I focus on games that you can play for 20 minutes and then short bursts. Yeah. That's like what are
you playing right now?
Right now, Insurgency and Day of Infamy, which are like basically Day of Infamy is a mod of Insurgency, but they're first-person shooters. One's in like the modern world; it's like Iraq, Afghanistan, and one's a World War II. But they're both first-person shooters. For a while, I was playing Darkest Dungeon, which is kind of an RPG-like, but with very little plot. More just a dungeon crawl game that you can play for short bursts because it's kind of divided into individual missions. And then I used to play League of Legends, but that game, it really sucks you in. It gets addictive, and the community is toxic. Like, it's just many in there.
I've joined some video game Facebook groups,
yeah.
And I can't handle the toxicity in games because like I used to play with a clan online and we played we played Call of Duty, and we would joke around with each other, and occasionally like you'd get in a room with people who were just and it was a rule, like it was a rule, like you do not engage in that kind of like talk with people. Like you can crack a joke every once in a while, like we let a joke go by occasionally, but like we would never legitimately like get in a lobby and trash talk and be assholes because it's just like some comedian a few years ago said this and I was like, okay, that is legitimately the truth. He was like, you know what? Sometimes I play video games online. I came to a sad realization one day that I have probably been called a faggot by the next president of the United States. And I was like, Because they're like, those are words that like we have tried to get rid of using in our society, but for some reason it's just these toxic words that stay in the world of video games and that culture online.
Yeah.
Which needs, to change. But like I heard that and I was like, yeah. I was like, some dude who's going to be the president of the United States one day told me he fucked my mom. Like some dude playing video games.
That was Call of Duty.
Right. Like some dude playing video games was like, I'm gonna fuck you in the ass and I'm gonna like come all over your eyes and then I'm gonna put my balls in your mouth and make you suck on them. And I'm like, great, that guy is one day gonna be a US senator or president. Like that's quite possibly what is going to happen.
Man, I should start recording these now just in case one of them becomes president. Fucking get some blackmail material on him, man.
Dude, well, it will be interesting in, I'm going to say 30 years, because I'll give it 30 or 40 years. I'll give it 30 years when social media posts and things like this creep up on people and get examined and get leaked. And, it's going to be one of those things where it's like, I don't know. It will be interesting. It will be interesting how it's spun to be like, oh, he posted this one, 30 years ago.
Man, I am very tempted now that you talk about this to just like create a fake Facebook profile and just like start just friending a bunch of people who go to like Harvard and Yale law schools and just screenshot all the dumb shit they post for future blackmail. And just make that my career, is blackmailing these ambitious people who probably want to go into politics.
There you go. It's probably not a bad idea. Probably not a bad idea.
As far as video games go, the best, like I feel like the bigger the game gets, the worse the community gets.
Yes.
People know each other. Like, because I used to play some games that had very small communities. Everyone knew each other, and people were amazing. Like very supportive, very friendly. Say hi to each other, like, oh, hey, guy, I remember you. Yeah,
Well, like, Warcraft was very much like that. If you got into the right, clans, like people worked together and like people got married, like people created families that way. And I think like it's there, but I think it's, I wonder if it is, if it's that PvP thing. Like if you're ganging up to take down a boss, that's one thing. But if like that boss is a human person, it's like, oh, I can talk shit to this person. Go ahead.
Video games, I think, have increasingly become like an escape for people who aren't happy with their lives, which I think it kind of was for me as a kid. And so I've really become wary of that. Like I've really become wary of spending too much time on them now. Cause I'm like, no, this is a fun diversion, but I got my real life to live. I got a girlfriend, I got a business.
There's a part of me that agrees with that, John. And I guess for me, what I don't want to play the Call of Duties anymore, even though now they're like, hey, you can buy Call of Duty 4 separately for your Xbox One. I'm like, don't make me do it. Don't make me do it because I want to do it. But I want to play the games that have great stories or do something new and different. Like I'm so excited. Finally, Cuphead is going to be done for the Xbox One because so Cuphead is this side scroller. Do you ever play Gunstar Heroes back in the day?
Yeah.
So it's like it kind of like Contra 2, like in that sort of realm of like, but it's a side scrolling like rolling shooter or whatever you'd call it, but done in the animation style of 1920s cartoons.
Yeah,
like, and it's just really cool. It's amazing to look at, and just a really, really cool looking game. So like that I'm excited for. And I love games with good stories. I've railed on this generation enough, and feeling like it's been like, oh, here's a remastered version of a game that you bought 10 years ago. Here's a remastered version of a game you bought 3 years ago. Fuck you, Sony. Fuck you, Microsoft.
That's everything these games, because that's not just games. That's movies and TV shows too. It's all about the remakes and sequels these days.
Yeah, and I don't mind a sequel. I don't mind a sequel, but like if you're gonna do it, like make it something better, you know. And that's like The Last of Us. The first one was phenomenal. I've not played a survivor horror game that really felt like a survivor horror game in a long time. The story was great.
Yeah.
Naughty Dog has really great storytelling aspects, but like nothing else has engrossed me in the story. Like I loved Fallout 3, but Fallout 4, it wasn't what I wanted. And I want something, I mean, dude, the greatest game I ever played in my life, and I say greatest with some asterisks, was Journey on the PS3.
I was just going to bring that up. That game is art. Like I love these indie games that actually try to be art. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually like I was weeping at the end of the game because like it's such a beautiful allegory for life, and like it's not even really a game. There's like you can work with people for a short time, then you go do your own thing, then you can meet someone else and work with them for a little bit, but like
yeah,
it's this story of getting to where to this love, to this mountain, and then it's just like your life is over, and it's like the game is over, and it's just so it's the only game that ever made me cry.
Yeah, and it's a game that I think it teaches a great lesson, which is like other people are people just like you, and they're not just like characters in your life. I mean, that's the allegory. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so the best games really, they have great plots, characters, and like they make you think. So I love games that make you think like that. But unfortunately, they tend to be the longer form games that I just don't have time for these days. Yeah. So because these days I'm more into the games that make you just shoot crap.
The ones you can get done and get back to work. So, John, we're going to wrap up here. It's been an awesome time getting to know you and talk a little about what drives you as a coach and a fitness guy. And, of course, spending almost 15, 20 minutes here talking about games. But my final question, what's the most important value that you try to display to your readers or clients?
The most important value that I try to display, determination. Just really like being committed to a goal and being committed to reach it by whatever means necessary. Even when things go wrong, even when their first plan doesn't work out. But just that attitude of if something's important to you, you will make it happen however you need to.
Yeah. Cool. Well, John, thank you so much for coming on, guys. You can, get all the links to everything we talked about in the show notes. SideQuestFitness.com/John Fawkes. That's JOHN -FAWKES. And John, if people want to know more about you, where can they find you online?
Yeah, I am at johnfawkes.com, JOHNFAWKES.com, no hyphen. Yeah, you can join my newsletter, get my habit change cheat sheet and my body recomp course for free. But johnfawkes.com is where you can find me. I'm on Twitter at John Fawkes, and I'm on medium.com at John Fawkes.
Awesome, guys. I'll have links to all that as well in the show notes. John, thank you so much, brother.
Thank you, Robbie.
Step up and you gotta get it fitness. Host Rob at the moment and the quest is you gotta check it and wreck it. You're breaking personal records, and with the help of the guests you won't be guessing on the lessons. That's a +5 fierce. Got a low-key bamf right here. You wanna meet him, there's no better way to greet him than to strike a boss pose. Take a look into the mirror.